Okay, so again, now let's go to why I feel that they've been trying to hide this, even from the other polygraph examiners in Texas. Here's why I think that the polygraph leadership in the Texas Association of Polygraph Examiners has even been trying to hide this information from their very own people. Because when these numbers come up, ain't nobody gonna like them. Well, a couple of you like them. A couple of you like them, but for the wrong reasons. Now again, these percentages are dead on. 91, 4, 5. These numbers, the number 600 is rounded down to the nearest 100. So, I hate to sound like a typical Patriots fan here, but I'm actually underinflating at this point in time. And in this case, underinflating, I'm actually being kind to people. Let's see how long it takes them to go ahead and take advantage of that kindness, huh? Anyway, at 546 tests, and again, we're underinflating here, that's $109,000. $200,000. That is a buttload. That is a lot of cabbage, boys and girls. For 8 months worth of work, that is a lot of fucking cabbage. Excuse my French. I speak street French fluently. 301 tests is what they claim to have done. That's $60,200. All right. Now there's a 245 inconclusive tests. This is important, and that's $49,000. Now, let's go back to the discovery, shall we? The results for inconclusive tests are not included in the 301 figure and were performed at no charge. Seriously? You're kidding, right? You left $49,000, actually more than $49,000, again, underinflating. $49,000 you're going to leave on the table out of the kindness of your own heart. Mr. Capitalism, huh? I don't think so. Do you honestly expect a reasonable person to believe that you're going to do $49,000 worth of free work within an 8-month period? Are you stoned? Or are you just stupid? Because I don't know any good businessman that's going to do 49 grand worth of free work. And I don't know any polygraph examiner. I don't know any polygraph examiner that's going to let a company do that for free. Because if you ain't charging for it, that means the polygraph examiner ain't getting paid for it either. And I know they ain't going to go without their money. Everybody else got $6,000 worth of work. Now, everybody else, meaning Raymond Lee, John Schwartz, Don Marsh, myself, Michael Barton, and Michael Shamiris. Now, Michael Shamiris got 16 of those tests, which adds up to about $3,200. And everybody else, with 14 of the tests, at $2,800. To divide up amongst the 5 of us over an 8-month period, which ultimately adds up to $560 per person on average. Now, I want everybody to think about this here. Here's Richard Wood and Associates making $109,000 in an 8-month period. Mike Barton, Don Marsh, John Schwartz, Raymond Lee. You know, I know that you guys need the money just as much as anybody else to run your businesses, to run your households, to feed your kids, give things to your kids, give things to your grandkids, put Christmas presents under the Christmas tree, put food on your table. Now, you're going to sit there and say, well, you know, it's just the way the cookie crumbles, Joe, and that's just the way that things like this work out. You need to think about this. 45% of these tests were inconclusive, which means, ultimately, that those tests had to be what? Retested. Where do you think that those retests went to? I can tell you for sure they didn't go to any of you guys. I can tell you for sure it didn't go to Mike Shamiris. Now, Mike, I hate defending you, but you've got to be a little bit pissed off at these numbers too. Unless you've got the tie down there in Denton County and you're doing okay and you don't really care. But you got to be a little bit pissed at these numbers too. So think about that. That's another $49,000 of retest. Another $49,000 of retest. Okay? Now, that means that if he did those retests, because I'm sorry, Richard, I just don't buy that you did those tests for nothing. I don't buy it. I don't think anybody else buys it either. And you know what? If I were to polygraph you, that'd be one of the biggest questions I'd ask. But anyway, let's say you did. Let's say for the sake of argument, you did charge the $49,000 for the retest. At that point in time, that is, let's see here, $158,000. And again, we're underinflating here. Isn't that something? So that $49,000 for retest. And how does a sex offender therapist not realize he's getting a lot of inconclusive rates? How does he not realize that? How does she not realize that? Now, if we look at it, and we were to divide this second $49,000 up 5 ways, that's $9,800. A whole lot better than 560, right? Could have spread that out. Could have spread that out. But no. It all goes to Richard Wood, doesn't it? It all goes to the golden boy with the 45% inconclusive rate. Now, here's my question with the 45% inconclusive rate. Here's my question. Is this 45% inconclusive rate because he's incompetent? Is this 45% inconclusive rate because somebody there doesn't know what the hell they're doing? Or is that 45% inconclusive rate to go ahead and pad the number? Because after all, there's nobody checking behind us, right? In the state of Texas, there's nobody checking behind us. And I know that you don't provide your charts to your examinees even when they ask for them. Okay, so my question for Richard Wood is, does this 45% inconclusive rate come because you're incompetent? Or is this 45% inconclusive rate coming because someone's padding that number? Either answer is not a good one. But there's going to have to be an answer. And I'll tell you why there's going to have to be an answer. Because this is your own numbers, Richard. This is that group of sex offender therapists' own numbers. This 45% inconclusive rate is real, and it belongs to you. Own it. Own it. I forgot. You never do anything wrong, right?
And I didn't do anything.
You never do anything wrong.
And I didn't do anything.
Couldn't possibly be you.
And I didn't do anything.
In Tarrant County, you are the all-knowing and all-seeing omnipotent.
And I didn't do anything.
Couldn't possibly be you, could it, Richard?
And I didn't do anything.
So who is it?
And I didn't do anything.
Who is it then? Is it Bobby Jones? Is it Brian Perot? Is it your son? See, me, I got an under 10% inconclusive rate. Under 10%. That year, I know for a fact, I added it up. I had an under 10% inconclusive rate. Now, the sex offender therapist group that this group of polygraphs is coming from, the owner pretty much told me that I want to make sure that my polygraph examiner is competent. I want to make sure my polygraph examiner is competent. That's why I didn't want to use you, Joe. I don't know if you're competent. Well, you know what? I had an under 10% inconclusive rate. And every time one of your guys, namely Richard, couldn't get a confession, who always got it? Who always got the confession? With the conclusive test. Who always got it? So really, you're going to say that he is more competent of a polygraph examiner than I am? Now, okay, I was still young in the polygraph industry back then. Maybe I'll go ahead and I'll take that as an excuse, but having said that, what about Raymond Lee? Raymond Lee's been around for a long time. He's an excellent polygraph examiner. He's a good man. But even with everything that's happened in the polygraph industry over the past years between me and Tape, this man right here can call me up at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, Joe, I need help, and I would be out of the bed before he could finish the sentence. He's a good man. Anybody that has anything different to say about Raymond Lee will have to deal with me personally. He's a good man. And he's a good polygraph examiner. You telling me that he wasn't good enough for you? What about... Actually, I'll take the attention off of you for a second. Let me put it on a polygraph examiner. It's not even in Texas right now. BB. Initials BB. You know who I'm talking to. You claim that not all polygraph examiners are built alike. Let's think about this for a minute. You got John Schwartz, very popular polygraph examiner all around the country, very well known. Another good guy. Only talked to him a couple of times, but he's always been decent to me. Man's never wronged me personally. You telling me that everybody at Richard Wood and Associates is better than John Schwartz? You tried to tell me that this 45% inconclusive rate over here is built somehow better than John Schwartz? I think John might disagree with you a little bit. What about Mike Barton? Mike, I don't know you, but do you think that people at Richard Wood and Associates is better than you? I don't know how long you've been around, but you tell me. My phone's always on. You call me. I got nothing against you. What do you think about these numbers? What do you think, BB? Do you think that Mike Barton is worse a polygraph examiner than everybody at Richard Wood and Associates? Pretty sure Mike Barton would disagree with you. What about Don Marsh? Only talked to him maybe once or twice in my life. Good guy. Never wronged me personally. Do you think that Don Marsh is a worse off polygraph examiner than 45% inconclusive rate? Seriously? Seriously? What about Mike Shamiris? You've been around for a long time, haven't you, Mike? Do you think that you're worse off than 45% inconclusive rate? I ain't gonna defend you like I've defended some of these other, like I've come to bat for these other guys. Because quite frankly, you've never come to bat for me, so why should I do that for you? You know, come on. Really? Really, Mike? You have no problem with these numbers? All goes to Richard Wood and Associates, doesn't it? All goes to them. Why? Why? Is it because he's just that good? Not according to his own numbers. And the polygraph industry is going to stand up for this guy? And the polygraph examiner, the industry is going to stand up for this guy? Now there are going to be people inside the polygraph industry that are going to say, I didn't know anything about this. Bullshit. I've been trying to tell you people this for years now. Nobody's listened. Nobody's listened to me. I'm the one that's discrediting to the polygraph industry? Seriously? I'm the one? See, I'm not trying to discredit the polygraph industry. I'm trying to discredit bad polygraph examiners. You see, I'm not trying to discredit the polygraph industry. I'm trying to discredit bad polygraph examiners. I'm trying to do two things. I'm trying to fix the polygraph system in the state of Texas, so it's a polygraph system that's fair for everybody, including the polygraph examiners. That everybody will have a right to make a living, because there is more than enough business to go around for everybody. You want to know what's discrediting to the polygraph industry? It's right here. That's where it is. That's where it is. That's where it starts. That's what's discrediting to the polygraph industry. Here's what I'm hoping for. Here's what I'm counting on. I'm counting on that once this is out, once the truth is out there, and the truth is undeniable, it is irrefutable, the polygraph community will step forward and go into autopilot and say, this needs to go. This kind of thing needs to go. We ain't going to stand by it. We ain't going to stand behind it. We're going to stand against it. Because someday, you can be the victim of it. Don't think so? Sure, Raymond Lee would like to make some of that cabbage right over there. Right, Raymond? I know John Schwartz would like to make a little bit of that cabbage over there. Huh, John? Or you would have wanted to. What about you, Mike Barton? Wouldn't you love to make some of that cabbage over there? Because if people truly had the right to choose their own JEPCOT certified polygraph examiner, some of these other people would be able to make a living. Because what would be the chances that people are going to want to continue to go to this guy who continues to do this? Because he's either doing it for one out of two reasons. Either they're incompetent, or they're doing it for the money. There's no other reason. There's no other excuse for a 45% inconclusive rate. There's no excuse. Now you want to talk about something else that's a discredit to the polygraph industry. 45% inconclusive rate. 45% of the time, we have a polygraph exam, a polygraph firm in this in the state of Texas. A polygraph firm in the state of Texas that almost half the time they can't tell whether somebody's telling the truth or a lie. What does that say about our business? And the idea that nobody has called him to the carpet on it, what does that say? I'm the only one that's ever called him to the carpet on this. I'm the only one that has the balls to stand up to these guys. And it takes an entire group of these guys. Secret meetings, secret ethics complaints, anonymous emails that are threatening and racist, and an attack dog that they can't put a leash on to take down this one little Yankee.
And I didn't do anything.